Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Sid Meier's South Mountain, the add-on pack, which was made available for free to everybody who purchased Sid Meier's Antietam, and the pack which adds the Battle of South Mountain to the game, the prelude to the Battle of Antietam, the battle in which General McClellan attacked the Confederate forces in and around the passes of South Mountain as the Confederate army was strung out and isolated, with Longstreet to the north, Jackson to the south. South Mountain represented the Union Army's best opportunity ever, or at least best until 1864, to destroy the Confederate Army in detail without a complete bloodbath of a battle. As it turned out, it was a decisive victory for the Union. It was probably the largest and most decisive battlefield victory for the Union until 1865 against Robert E. Lee. But it was incomplete. General McClellan failed to follow up his successes. He pushed the Confederates out of the pass, ravaged several small Confederate units, but failed to take the initiative to destroy the Confederate army. He would pause after the battle, allow the Confederates 3 days to concentrate their forces, bringing Jackson and Longstreet together, and then he would go forward once more on the offensive in the battle that would result in the bloodiest day in American history at the Battle of Antietam. But that is not what we're looking at. We are looking at the Battle of South Mountain, the prelude to Antietam. This is the battle for Turner's Gap, the main action in the north against D.H. Hill's division, guarding the northern gaps to South Mountain. This is part 2 of that battle. The fight has gotten off to a pretty good start so far. At the moment, the Confederates have been pushed off the sort of the left flank, and we're pushing through some heavily wooded areas. Meanwhile, on the right, through the open terrain, we've cut off and forced a couple of rebel regiments to surrender and are now moving north toward the main objective, toward kind of an open area. This was taken from a live stream from a couple of days ago, and with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the live stream and into the gameplay so we can pick up right where we left off without too much of me rambling. Hope you guys enjoy. Catch you guys at the end. He's got 3 regiments in line against a lone rebel regiment. It is heavily entrenched, for whatever that's worth. Meanwhile, Hartland's going to move his brigade up to the north to support Reno to try and outflank the rebels near Frosttown Gap. Seymour is trying to move in on Frosttown Gap from the other direction. And there you have it. So we've taken Fox's Gap. We've held Ridge Road, we've taken Wood Road, and we've taken the National Pike. All positive starts to this battle. Welsh, you're going to go ahead and reform your brigade over here. These guys have been at the vanguard of this last attack. You're going to move into double line. Your troops are a little bit more tired. It looks like the rebels do have a fair number of reserves that are showing up. We're going to throw Fairchild in here next to Farrow's brigade. Got Patrick also available. Doubleday. Phelps and Gibbon. Those damn black-hatted fellers. Alright. Hooker's going to move forward. Burgess, you're going to move forward with your artillery. Let's get some guns into action right now. We're not really using our artillery at all. Rodman, get up there with your division. Alright, so this battle line isn't quite as favorable for us yet. Once Seymour's into position, I'll feel a little bit better. Same for Gallagher and Magleton, for what it's worth. They'll advance through this pass here toward the Frosttown Gap, hopefully on the Confederate flank. All these troops here. Welsh, you're going to go ahead and advance. And while Wilcox is continuing to fire... Sorry, that's Christ. It's Wilcox's division. What are these troops doing? These guys all look relatively good. Fairchild, you bring your brigade forward. Alright, so we should be able to overlap the Rebs now. We've got Seymour into position. He's going to advance in line. Heartland's going to start advancing some of his troops. So, again, Pharaoh is not in the best shape. You guys probably should not be in column formation there. Right, Welsh is now being shot at by troops at much higher ground. These guys are not in great shape. 712 troops in this regiment. 9th New Hampshire is massive. Firepower for them is not very good, though. Alright, Gallagher, move forward at the double line. Angleton, you'll move forward in reserve. Double line as well. Seymour is still moving forward in regular line. I think Connecticut's huge. Where are they shooting? Where are they blocked by? 6th Connecticut? 16th Connecticut? There you go. They are not blocked. God damn it. Hold your fire, boys! Alright, there you go. Gallagher, meanwhile, is coming down on the rebel flank. Seymour as well. We're going to move Seymour into double line. This is just too long of a, or too narrow of a front. We drove someone back. Alright, so we drove that brigade. Christ can now bring his brigade forward here on the Rebs in front of Turner's Gap. So, to bring some help here to Welsh, whose troops are in a bit of a tight spot. Meanwhile, Nagel, why don't you bring these guys forward as a reserve and over here on this flank. Patrick, you're going to form up behind Nagel as a reserve. Kind of feeding these troops in piecemeal, but... Reporting, General. Where's Hooker at? Are these guns shooting at anybody? Can they not see anything over here yet? Apparently not. Alright, so this gap is taken. We're going to go ahead and advance Gallagher here behind the rebel line. We may be able to cut off an entire enemy brigade back here, assuming there's no one in these woods that we're going to be exposing our rear to. Well, there's at least one regiment. Maybe we can charge them out of their position. Their flag looks really weak, so I'm hoping they're... hoping we can easily break them. Alright. Did it. Now we just gotta get these troops in position behind these Confederates. Angleton, you're gonna move forward here. Battle line completely in the rear of the enemy. 11th Pennsylvania, you keep the pressure up. Well, we need to advance these troops into the rear of the rebels. We may have an entire enemy brigade cut off. Reporting, General. Meanwhile, on the left, the fight's not going quite as well. There's just a lot more trees to navigate. And most of our reserves have funneled through to the center, not to the flank. That should bring the fire off these guys. Alright, Seymour, bring your troops forward on this flank. Alright, we've got an entire, maybe 2 enemy regiments, or 2 enemy brigades here cut off. The 11th Pennsylvania's guarding the rear. Got a bunch of reserves as well that we haven't committed yet. But I'm confident in saying that right now, this fight seems to be going our way. Who's retreating? See anyone retreating? Oh, they're over here on the flank. Let's actually move Gibbon's brigade up here. We're going to move Gibbon up to the Wood Road. That's where we need reserves, if anywhere. 46 New York. Fire into the damn rebel line. Meanwhile, these guys could start to hopefully break. Got another brigade arriving. Oh wait, Meade. Meade, get forward. You're gonna get command of the army early, Meade, if your division captures half the Rebs. Alright, Hatch is a division commander, isn't he? Yes, he is. Alright. Juria's brigade is here. Let's actually move Doubleday's brigade up where Gibbon is going as well. I'm going to try and flank this rebel line also. We'll see if we can get up behind. Gibbon will probably replace Christ's brigade when it eventually pulls back. I don't think they'll hang in there too much longer. Meanwhile, new enemy officer spotted near Turner's Gap. These Rebs got to be close to surrendering, right? Alright, I'm just going to try and advance to speed this thing up. We need to try and crush them now. If I can kind of close in and increase the pressure on them. Ooh, 160. Again, some of these guys are at longer range, so... Michigan's huge. The Stonewall Regiment? Really? That's their name, the Stonewall Regiment? Why are they the Stonewall Regiment? Alright, most of these guys are running. They should be about to surrender. That's the one thing I like about this game, unlike some of the newer versions like Ultimate General, where like enemy troops don't surrender when they're surrounded. Sometimes they just rout. So, a bunch of Rebs surrendering. Look at all those. Look at all those colors, boys. All those colors are now ours. Alright, so, Agleton. We've destroyed 2 rebel brigades. Continue the pressure. You're going to flank over here. Gallagher, great job with your brigade as well. You're going to form up in double line here, back here. Oh, one more brigade that surrendered. Look at all those colors march into the rear. More brigades! More brigades! Good lord. Alright, so where are we at right now? So we've got about an hour left in the fight. We've taken a shit ton of enemy colors. 1,700 Confederate casualties against 700 of our own. I think some of that is accounted for with the captured colors, but oh my goodness, I've never seen that many colors in a battle in Sid Meier's. The enemy still holds the Frosttown Gap or the enemy still holds Zittletown Gap and Turner Gap, but we're not that far from Turner Gap. So my hope is Confederates approach Frosttown Gap. From where? Oh shit! Whole brigades coming down from the north. Well, that's bullshit. Where'd those damn rebs come from? Alright, just turn around. Turn around and you've got them on the flank. Meanwhile, Magleton, advance your troops. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, by the way. More rebs are coming up. Oh, shit. Doubleday, you're flanked. Crafty rebs. Good thing we move those reserves to the north. Meanwhile, Phillips, why don't you move up here? Yeah, Doubleday, you're probably smart. Alright, so at least we can refuse our flank over here. Meanwhile, this initial approach to the Turner Gap is blocked. But I think we can get at it. Alright, Heartland, you're going to move over that way. Barrow, you're going to move over here. Fairchild, you're going to advance. That. Still pretty confident here. The Rebs did kind of sneak up on us in the woods here. Gibbon's going to advance. We've only got a half an hour left. Damn. Alright, well, they're doing their damn job of delaying us in any event. These guys are tired, but they're going to have to advance anyway. Need to retake Frosttown Gap to make sure we are victorious here. Alright, routed one of them. This whole rebel... Alright, they're all routed. So move forward. On the Turner Gap. Child also. I mean, it's not for a lack of troops, really. Like, I've got uncommitted brigades here. But I just haven't committed. Christensen's brigade isn't even going to get a chance to move up in time, probably, before the fight's over. Alright. There's literally one guy in each of these regiments, so they're just all gonna die on the field. We're just gonna kill the whole regiment. Duh, literally, we just destroyed that regiment. Alright. Oh, we captured another Reb. Alright, so there you go. Another enemy regiment captured. Let's actually see. We think. I wonder if I wonder if this gap is open. I wonder if I can just advance on this gap here in the north.
Reporting, General.
Alright, 15 minutes left in this fight. Meanwhile, you can see here Gibbon is engaged. Doubleday is not so much. We haven't been able to push these guys out of this wood. They have more brigades in here, or are these the guys who surrendered? We'll push out of the objective area. Move Dury north, I guess, just to be sure. National Pike. Who did we spot by the National Pike? All right. Would really like a few extra minutes here, guys. Battle's about to be decisive. Double Days Brigade's pushed back. Run the flank, I guess. That's fine. 5 minutes? Alright, get over to the Zittletown Gap. Maybe there's no enemy troops there and you'll get us some extra time. I think if you take an objective or change an objective's owner, then it does give you a little bit more time, similar to how Ultimate General works. How have we not captured the Zittletown Gap, though? That's what I'm wondering. There you go. Alright, so Gallagher's captured the Gap. Does it give us more time? I'd like to hope so. I'll pull 2 of his regiments back for the Turner Gap, which is now the only remaining objective point that the Rebs hold.
Reporting, General.
Over the Mosier houses. Alright, so we did get a few extra minutes. Past the 5-minute mark. Probably not enough to unbuckle this whole line. Get these guys in behind the Rebs. Alright. Man, if we just had a few more minutes, I think we could do it. I don't really know where the trigger point is, though, for the objective. We did just rout that one regiment. Not too worried about Fairchild's brigade. They're off more on the front of Turner's Gap. We should at least get an approaches the gap, right? Gonna run up in the rear there. We're down in the last, literally into the last minute. We're right on the gap. No, we ran out of time. Still a decisive Union victory. All right, well, I think it's fair to say we crushed this wing of the Confederate Army. I don't think there's going to be any Battle of Antietam. That was a decisive victory. The Federals held on to Turner Gap. That was the only objective they kept. We suffered about 1,600 casualties. The enemy suffered over 2,898 men. That left them with about 6,000 soldiers left, but I'm not sure if they really had 6,000 men on the field. I would imagine we probably captured at least like 2,000 of those enemy soldiers. So I'd like to think the enemy might have only escaped with about 4,500 men, given the position that we held and the fact that we kind of possessed their rear. If the rebels lost, say, 6,000 men before the Battle of Antietam, I have a hard time seeing Lee hang on to his position there. I suppose it's possible, but again, that would have savaged his northern wing. Longstreet would have been exposed, And presumably, well, I guess it's McClellan, so who knows. If there was no follow-up, maybe Antietam still would have occurred. In any event, it was a victory for the Union, a victory for yours truly, the most decisive victory that I have yet won in any of the Sid Meier's Civil War games. The most effective brigade was Seymour's brigade, which was apparently here. The most effective regiment was the 13th Pennsylvania Reserve Regiment of Seymour's, and the hardest fighting unit was the 8th, 28th, and 56th Virginia Regiment. Apparently it's 3 separate regiments under Garnett's brigade. I'm not quite sure. In any event, a victory for us. Nearly 2-to-1 casualties inflicted. How many colors is that? Let's squint and count. I count 12 rebel regiments completely surrendered, so that 2,800 number seems low. Wow, that's like a division of rebel troops surrendered. Huzzah! All right, watch the replay? Oh, we can. Look at this. You can watch the replay of the battle fight out. So here you can see this is where all the rebel regiments were as we approached. Took the National Pike. We moved in here at about 3 o'clock. Maneuvered our troops into these wood lines, surrounded and surrendered these enemy units. 2 full enemy brigades up here in the north. It looks like 8 regiments up here in the north. We swing in, kind of flank them on one side, then we charge, break that 1 regiment, charge them again, swing in around here, capture the 7 remaining enemy regiments after a prolonged fight. I probably should have forced that action sooner. Meanwhile, the enemy had 2 brigades on our flank over here that I didn't do a good enough job of recognizing after we caught these guys. These rebels came in, they did kind of pose a threat, so we had to refuse our line, bringing in the Iron Brigade and Doubleday's brigade over here. Meanwhile, the rest of our army swung north around Ziegeltown Gap, and you can see here we were coming in to crush the remnants of the Confederates. Frankly, I think these are the only 2 brigades that escape out of that. So we can probably assume that after this whole thing was over, the Confederates might have escaped with 2,000 men. That was Robert E. Lee's worst day. Army of the Potomac. Oh, cool. And you can go and see the order of battle here. You can see the 11th Ohio had 142 casualties, 29 KIA, 52 wounded in action, 61 missing. That's interesting. 14 casualties in the 17th Michigan, 2 killed, 4 wounded, 8 missing. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of always hard to find that information, but apparently it is there. I don't know if I can see the rebels. Doesn't look like I can. Oh, they're the rebels. So does it tell us which units surrendered? No. Does it show where these guys surrendered? It doesn't really show me if they surrendered or not. It's just what they have at the end of the battle? Huh. Interesting. All right, there you have it, folks. A victory at the Battle of South Mountain, a decisive Union victory, a victory in more than 3 times the historical outcome in this battle. It's hard to say if Antietam would have still occurred, but if not, in any event, it was a smashing success. My biggest success so far in any of the Sid Meier stuff that I've shown you so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out here. So until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.